Okay, so you're learning Spanish, you're feeling pretty good about it, and then, bam, you need to talk to someone, and that moment hits, right? That little panic of, wait, how do I actually address this person?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, it's not just about finding a word for you. It's this whole other layer.
Exactly. Are you showing respect? Are you being too familiar, too distant? It feels like you're walking this tightrope.
You've hit on something really fundamental there. It's way more than just grammar, isn't it? It's like a key to unlocking cultural understanding, a real deep dive.
Totally. And that's what we're doing today. We're jumping right into that whole confusing but super important world of tú and usted in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission, basically, is to clear things up, give you a solid guide.
Mm-hmm.
When do you use which one? Why? We'll even get into some, surprising facts and cultural bits.
Yeah, the goal is for you to walk away feeling confident, like you get it. Not just the rule, but the feeling behind it.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a shortcut to navigating those social situations.
Definitely. And we've got some amazing material guiding us today.
We do. This deep dive comes straight from the fantastic work of Dulce. She's the creator of the YouTube channel Español con Dulce.
Oh, she's great.
Isn't she? Really clear, really helpful, especially for you learners out there. And hey, check the description. There's a link to download a free PDF she made. It'll back up everything we talk about. Super useful.
Awesome. Okay, so here's the plan. We'll start with the basics, like what are tú and USTED.
Right.
Then we'll look at specific times you'd use them, friends, strangers, the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then the grammar. That's a big
Oh,
one.
yeah, the verb changes. Crucial.
And then the really juicy stuff.
Yeah.
How it changes depending on where you are. The regional differences are wild.
Mm-hmm. Huge variations.
We'll also cover how you might, switch from formal to informal, that two-tier thing.
Yeah, how that transition happens.
And finally, when you actually need to stick with the formal USTED, even if you feel close to someone, it's all about getting that authentic communication down.
Okay, let's get into it then. So at the heart of it, TÚ and USTED, they both mean you when you're talking to just one person. Second person singular. Simple enough, right?
Seems simple,
Mhm.
but the way they work, the vibe they give off, totally different.
Worlds apart, yeah. So TÚ, what's the feeling there? What's it doing?
It feels informal, close.
Exactly. It's about connection, closeness, equality even. Like,
Yeah.
think about chatting with your best friend, your brother, your mom.
People you're really comfortable with.
Right. Or maybe a colleague you have a really relaxed relationship with. Using TÚ is like saying, hey, we're cool, no need for formalities. It breaks down walls a bit.
Creates that comfort zone immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then USTED, the complete opposite almost.
Pretty much. USTED carries a different kind of weight. It's the formal one.
Mm-hmm.
And its main job, showing respect.
Okay, so respect is key. When would you automatically reach for USTED?
Think older people, definitely. Strangers you just met on the street, people in positions of authority like your boss, a police officer, maybe a professor you don't know well.
Formal situations too, right? Like a job interview or something.
Absolutely. Or even just buying something in a fancy store sometimes. It can also just maintain a polite distance if you don't know someone well. It's like acknowledging, okay, I see your position, or we don't know each other yet, so let's keep it respectful.
Right, sets a certain tone.
Yeah.
Okay, let's nail down some tú situations.
Yeah.
When is it just the natural choice?
Well, like we said, established relationships or informal settings. So asking your friend about plans. ¿Tú vas al cine mañana? Just flows.
Okay.
Or telling your mom something nice. Tú siempre sabes qué decir, mamá. That too feels warm, familiar.
Yeah.
And even with someone your age you've just met, if the vibe is casual, you're at a party, maybe after class you'd probably default to ¿Tú tienes tiempo después de la clase? It suggests, let's be informal.
What about, like, kids? If you're talking to a child you don't know, still tú.
That's a good point. Yeah, generally with kids, TÚ is pretty standard in most places. Even if you don't know them, there's kind of an assumption of informality there. So you might say, hey, ¿tú quieres un dulce? Hey, do you want a candy? Teenagers. It can be a bit more context dependent. Sometimes usted for respect, but often TÚ among peers or if the setting is very casual.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, flipping over to USTED, this is the respect mode. Give us some classic scenarios.
All right. So you see an elderly person needing help crossing the road, you'd naturally say, usted necesita ayuda. That usted is pure deference showing care.
Right, it just sounds right.
Or at work, talking to your manager, Señor Pérez. You'd use usted, Señor Pérez. Usted revisó el documento. It respects the hierarchy.
Even if you're kind of friendly outside work?
Often, yes, within the work context itself, USTED maintains that professional boundary. And definitely with strangers asking for directions, ¿Usted sabe dónde está la estación? It's just standard politeness.
Okay, got it. So context relationship. But then there's the grammar part. This is where things get tricky for learners, myself included sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Because TÚ and USTED both mean you, singular, but the verbs do completely different things.
This is so important. Seriously, nail this and you're way ahead. With TÚ, the verb conjugates in that familiar second-person singular form, the one you probably learn first.
Like, tú hablas español. You speak Spanish. Ends in as for our verbs.
Exactly. Tu comes, you eat. Tu vives, you live. Those typical TÚ endings.
But then UST, it throws a curveball. The verb acts like it's for he or she, right? Third person singular.
Precisely. So you speak Spanish formally becomes usted habla español. Sí. No es on the end. Hablas becomes habla.
Wild. So it looks like he speaks or she speaks.
It does. It conjugates exactly the same as el or ella. That little os disappearing makes all the difference in formality.
Can we see that with other verbs, like correr and vivir?
Sure. So informally, tu comes, formally. Usted come, informally. Tu vive, formally. Usted vive.
Okay. What about queer to want?
Good one. Informal. Tu quieres ir. You want to go? Formal. Usted quiere ir.
Or poder.
Informal. Tu puedes ayudarme. You can help me. Formal. Usted puede ayudarme. It's consistent across the board. Once you spot that pattern usted takes the alea verb form, it clicks.
It really does unlock things. Okay, so we've got the basics, the grammar. Now, the really fascinating part, how this changes depending on where you are.
Yes. The cultural and regional stuff, this is where just knowing the rule isn't enough. You got to have cultural awareness.
Because what's normal in, say, Spain might be totally different in Mexico or Colombia.
Completely different, like night and day sometimes. Generally speaking, in many parts of Latin America, usted is used much more broadly to show respect.
More than in Spain.
Oh, definitely. Think
Now,
Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, parts of the Andes. Using usted with elders, teachers, officials, even sometimes people providing a service is really common. It's a strong marker of respect.
So, like in Mexico, kids using usted with their grandparents isn't weird, even if they're super close.
Not at all. It's often the norm. It's ingrained as showing respect for their age and position in the family. It doesn't mean they aren't close, it's just the appropriate way to address them. Using tú might even sound jarring or disrespectful in that context.
Wow. Okay. So tú there is really reserved for your close friends, people your own age.
Pretty much. Peers, siblings, really close relationships where that informality is established. I remember a friend telling me he accidentally used to with a much older shopkeeper in Colombia, and the reaction was, let's just say, very chilly.
Oof. Lesson learned fast, I bet.
Instantly. It really drives home how these aren't just words, they carry social weight.
So then Spain is the big contrast. You hear tú way more often.
Much more often, yeah. It's quite striking if you're used to Latin American Spanish. In Spain, you'll hear tú used in situations that might call for usted elsewhere, like talking to shop assistants, waiters, sometimes even older people you don't know super well, or bosses, depending on the workplace culture.
So it doesn't automatically mean disrespect in Spain?
Not necessarily, no. It's just, the more common default in many everyday interactions. It reflects maybe a generally less formal social interaction style in certain contexts compared to some Latin American countries. Of course, usted still exists and is used for clear formality or showing deference, but the threshold for using tú is definitely lower.
That is so fascinating. Okay, this leads perfectly into the next bit. How do you actually switch? You might start with usted.
Right. Maybe when you first meet someone, especially in a more formal setting or if there's an age gap, you play it safe with usted.
But then you get talking, you find common ground, the vibe gets friendlier.
Exactly. And then there might be a moment, maybe explicit or maybe just understood, where you transition to tú.
And there's a word for that specific action.
There is, two-tier. It literally means to use tú with someone. It signifies that shift to a more informal, closer relationship.
How does that usually happen? Does someone just start using tú?
Sometimes. Or one person might even explicitly say something like, oye, me puedes tutear, eh? Hey, you can use tú with me, you know? It's like an invitation.
Oh, cool. Like giving permission.
Yeah. Or it can be more subtle. Imagine you meet someone at a work event. Start with, ¿Usted a qué se dedica? What do you do for a living?
Formal.
Very. But maybe later, you're chatting more casually, laughing about something. One of you might naturally slip into, oye, ¿y tú vives cerca de aquí? Hey, and do you live near here? If the other person responds using tú as well, the shift has happened.
It's like a little social dance, reading the room.
Totally. And it feels good when it happens naturally, like you've crossed a little bridge into a warmer connection.
Definitely. And this is important just because you could toot, or even if you feel close to someone, sometimes you should stick with usted, right?
Absolutely crucial point, yes. Continued respect sometimes overrides closeness, especially in certain relationships or contexts.
Like the grandparent example you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Even if you have the warmest, most loving relationship with your abuela, in many families, continuing to use usted is just what you do. It's a lifelong sign of respect for her role and age. It's not about distance, it's tradition and deference.
I see. What about work? Say you become actual friends with your boss.
Still tricky. Even if you hang out outside of work and use to, when you're back in the office, especially in front of others or in formal meetings, reverting to usted might be necessary to maintain that professional tone and respect for their position.
So it's about appropriateness for the specific situation, even moment by moment sometimes.
Precisely. It shows you understand the nuances, that you respect the boundaries, whether they're familial, social, or professional. It's about choosing the right tool for the job, or maybe the right pronoun for the relationship in that context.
Wow. Okay, so thinking about all this,
Yeah.
it really changes how you approach speaking Spanish, doesn't it? It's not just memorizing words.
Not at all. It forces you to be more observant, more sensitive to the social cues, the relationship dynamics, the age differences, the setting.
So, for you listening, how might this deep dive affect how you speak Spanish from now on? Will you maybe listen more closely to how native speakers address each other? Will you think a bit more consciously before choosing tú or usted?
It really highlights that mastering a language, truly mastering it, goes so far beyond just the grammar rules. It's about understanding the culture woven into it.
Yeah, and how a simple choice between two little words can open up this whole universe of meaning and social connection. It makes interactions way richer, more authentic when you start to get it.
Couldn't agree more. And hey, if you want to keep exploring this and other fascinating parts of Spanish, definitely check out Dulce's YouTube channel, Español con Dulce. She's the source for today's insights.
And don't forget that free PDF download linked in the description. It's a great way to keep these ideas fresh.
Absolutely. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep diving into the amazing world of Spanish communication.